Give it to me like. Give it to me like.
Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Laura, aka Perplexed. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Today's topic is going to be pretty heavy on some topics, so if you can't handle it, come back for another episode. But there's a lot to discuss here. So first, let me say hi. Make sure you guys hit the poll, and please remind me to check the poll afterwards. Now, hey Cindy, hey Rhodey, hey Whistledown. Get down. Dog is a pain in the fucking ass. Ugh. All right. So I'm going to start this live with a disclaimer. And that disclaimer is I don't know a lot about this case. I never really got into this case. I never really got into this case until recently. So there's a lot of questions that I have. I know that I've done a panel on this in the past, but like I know there's a lot of questions that I have. So for anyone that knows the case, I could use some help. But what I have been doing is I've been watching all of the different creators, not even creators. A lot of them are lawyers. Thank you, Tanya. A lot of them are lawyers, and they're so dead set against they're so dead set against him being guilty. And then I listened to, like, I personally reached out to Gray Hughes last night, and he said, "Oh, they're all crazy." Hey, Kelsey, they're all crazy. So he's convinced that they're guilty. So then I'm listening to a new lawyer that I found who's also at trial every day. This woman called Lawyer Lee. And she had some really good info. Can you please get down? Do you want to go out? Do you want to go out? Hold on. Let me let the pain in the ass out. Come on. Let's go. Go. Come on, Connor, in or out? Go. I'm not standing here all day. In or out? Let's go. Let's go. Out. Now I know why I don't have female dogs. They're so needy. My God. So, okay. So, as I was saying, so I found this lawyer Lee last night who's at trial every day, who also thinks that, from the impression I get, that it's a frame job. So I mean, I've honestly never seen so many educated people have such diverse opinions about the same case. Usually everybody's on par, and then you have like your conspiracy, people. But these are not conspiracy people. These are well educated lawyers and beyond, police, lawyers, psychologists. Everybody is divided, and nobody can figure out if it's a frame job or not. Now, I don't know if you guys know what Andrea Burkhart is. I find her extremely educated. There's something about her I happen to really like. She's not like just a lawyer. I just happen to really like her. And she is so dead set on him being guilty. Now, if I ask Gray says that they're doing it for views. And I said, "No, I don't think so, Gray." I was like, "Andrea is really not about the views." And that's not like just like her saying it. She's really not. And this lawyer Lee, I have no idea because I've never watched her. I just happened to find her last night. So I do know that some of the people are in it for views, absolutely, but not everybody is. So I'm like watching them, and I'm, gathering as much as I can information. And I'm like, wow, they're all so many different opinions. And like Lauren, I forgot her last name, but she's also at trial every day. She was just on duty Ron. And I went there like halfway through it. I had no idea what the fuck they were talking about. Something about a gun. I don't know if any of you guys watched Duty Ron just now, but I took some screenshots of the comments because that kind of explained it. But they went on for like 40 minutes about a gun. And it was kind of conflicting stories, and I didn't really understand which way to go. Because in the comment section, they made sense. They were like, well, if she had to release the gun, then, then it couldn't be the same gun, blah, blah, blah. But my question is, Richard Allen got arrested in like 2022, right? Somewhere around there. So if they had this alleged casing, they had this alleged bullet, then why the fuck would it take them so many years to find him? That's just a personal question. If there was technically a bullet connected to him, why did it take you like 7 years to connect it? That's why I did like question in my own mind, is it fabricated evidence? Did they really connect it, or are they full of shit? Because I would think that if you could only connect a gun, it like if it's like a fingerprint and each gun is connected to each bullet or whatever. So if you can connect a casing or a bullet to that specific gun, then why the fuck would it take you 7 years to do that? That's the question I have, but I'm not paying a super chat to get someone to answer me. I think his own tip. See, I don't know anything about that. But you know what I'm saying though? If you can literally connect a bullet to a gun, then it wouldn't have taken 7 years to find him. They would have been able to trace it within a short amount of time. And I understand it was 2017, so things are different. Ballistics were different. DNA was different. Things were different. But they weren't so different that you couldn't trace it back to him within 7 years. So that's my one question I have that I don't know who to ask because nobody's answering. I thought they didn't test the hair. Thank you. 7 years later, they found his name in a folder under Richard and the street he lives on. That's what I think too. Yeah, I know they hadn't tested the hair, but is it prosecution that tested it now or defense that tested it? Because I don't trust the prosecution at this moment. But let me also go through. I'm going to open up the panel. If you guys want to come up and talk about the case, I would love to hear both sides, but let me show you what I do have. What I did find. Where's that noise? On my headset. Hold on. No? Okay. All right. I know from my girl Steph, who I wish was here. I know this James Bryan Chadwell name because when I did do a panel on Delphi, she'd come up. But he looks a hell of a lot more like these two than Richard Allen does. I mean, he's pretty close. Way closer than Richard Allen. Now, I don't know where these sketches came from, if they were original sketches, but this is from like 4 years ago. Now, why did he get excluded? Like, this guy tried to lure a 9-year-old and sexually assault her. What made him excluded from the Delphi murders? That's my another question. Then I found this, which is from 2021. I forgot. Hold on. Let me just share a whole screen. It makes it easier. All right. It's from January of 2020, so it's 4 years ago. I am not a mathematical genius, but at first glance, this looks pretty fucking good. So they were trying to estimate how tall the guy was. James Caldwell. By using calculations from the trees, from the bridge, from everything. The estimated calculation, now he had boots on, so it's going to make him even taller. But the estimated calculation of the killer's height was 5.87. Final calculation for the height of the killer is approximately 5'10", which is what the experts said too. Okay. Hey, Marissa. Which is what the experts said too. Richard Allen is 5'5". He is not 5'10" by any stretch of the imagination at all. All right, didn't see bridge guy, and yet he said he was there. And he could have been there. I mean, if a lot of people use that trail, personally, you wouldn't catch me dead using that bridge. It's too scary. I don't like heights though. But according to this calculation, going on mathematical equations by the easy to draw 2 right angles and run some trigonometry to show that the killer's height equals bridge half width plus tan theta 1 y tan theta 2, where all angles are defined in degrees as shown in the attached picture. Running through these measurements using a protractor, it's possible to derive theta 1, 142, 119.5 equals 22.5. Theta 2 equals 154.5 minus 142 equals 12.5. Picture offset angle equals 142 minus 90 equals 52. Amber, with all angles in degrees. Because the bridge half width is shortened due to oblique viewing angle, then theta 2 will be an underestimate. The apparent bridge half width in the picture will be the real bridge half width times the cosine of the offset angle. So theta 2 should be corrected by dividing theta 2 by the cosine of the offset angle. Now, you might as well give me Japanese because that's what I feel like I just read. Theta 2 equals 12.5 divided by cos 52 equals 20.3. Then tan, which is theta 1, divided by tan theta 2 equals tan 22.5 divided by tan 20.3 equals 1.12. And the height of the killer should be killer height equals 1.6 m star 1.112 equals 1.79 m. Killer height equals 5.87 feet. Therefore, my final calculation for the height of the killer is approximately killer height equals 5 feet and 10.5 inches. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it sounds good. It sounds right. See, everyone thinks 4chan are just trolls, but that's the calculation and it makes sense. The bridge is 10 feet wide, 120 inches. That's how they were able to calculate it. Oh, I see what they did. In layman's terms, they went by the width and then calculated if he was laying down. That makes sense. So if the bridge is 5'11 and a half and he laid out, they took the top of his foot. See, I don't know why they had to made it all complicated. Just had to explain it the way I am. So if he laid down from one side to the other, the bridge is 5'11 across, then someone 5'11, 5'10 would be almost the full length of the bridge this way. Makes sense. I see how they got that mathematical equation because it really does make sense. And you can even see that. Richard Allen is 5'5 and he's skinny. He's not bulky like this. I don't think it's Richard Allen. I don't, but I don't know enough about the case. So I'm just going on what I like see logically. But I don't know. I just don't understand why 7 years later is when all of a sudden they have this bullet together. That makes no sense to me. Then I found this, which I don't know if Gray Hughes knows that he is listed as a case investigator, a cold case investigator, according to Australian, the News Australian. A cold case investigator's eerie animated video recreates murdered Indiana teens Libby German and Abby Williamson on a bridge filming their killer. Now, let me just tell you, I didn't know this was Gray's until I was watching it, and my first thought was, "Wow, this seems like something Gray would do." And sure enough, it is Gray's. But I thought it was funny they have him listed as a cold case investigator. Hey, whatever works. But it's pretty good video. Hold on, let me update it. Oh, Sorry about that. Before I continue to play it, my question is, according to Gray's video, uh, Abby was taking a video of Libby or vice versa. Don't hate me. I don't know which was which, but one of them, it was on Libby's camera. So Libby was taking the video of Abby and wanted to get Bridge Guy on there. So why wouldn't Bridge Guy take her phone after he killed her? That's what I question about Bridge Guy even being the killer. He knew that she had recorded him. He knew that she got pictures of him. So why wouldn't he take her phone? That's my other question. So I think, is Bridge Guy really the killer? Or did a killer just totally get away with it? But he allegedly, Annie, allegedly, he undressed them or something. So even if she hid it, if he undressed them or had different clothes or whatever, then he would know that her phone was there. Yeah, but didn't he change their clothes or something? And he would have seen it while they were on the bridge. He would have known that she got video because she turned around. Do you know what I'm saying? According to Gray's video, which he's probably right about, that Libby turned around to take a picture of Abby in order to get Bridge Guy. So he knew she had video of him. And after he killed her, you would think he would have looked for a phone. Or if he changed their clothes, then he would have known there was a phone in their pocket. That just doesn't make sense to me. And these are questions that I have. You see what I mean? According to the video, and it makes sense, Libby turned around in order to get a picture of her and get a picture of Bridge Guy. I remember hearing that he changed their clothes or something. Well,
Donald Trump is yet again shattering records as his
hold on.
An Indiana man accused of luring a 9-year-old girl into his home and sexually assaulting her is
Hold on, you guys. Hold on. Oh, you guys are seeing it. All right. Could the camera just be coming from the front? This was 2017, though, and they weren't totally rich. I don't think they had good phones. I think they had crappy phones. Okay, took their clothes off and dressed one in the other's clothes, which means he would have found a phone. So why wouldn't he take the phone?
An Indiana man accused of luring a 9-year-old girl into his home and sexually assaulting her is reportedly being looked at as a possible person of interest in a high-profile cold case in the same state. The Lafayette Journal and Courier reports detectives are eyeing James Bryan Chadwell II as possibly having ties to the murders of 14-year-old Libby German and 13-year-old Abby Williams in Delphi. The friends went for a walk in the woods in their small town back in February 2017 and never came home. Their bodies were found the next day. Investigators released this video that was found on Libby's phone. They believe the person in the video is the killer, and they've been hoping someone out there will recognize him by the way he walks or talks. The report says investigators wouldn't confirm if they are looking at Chadwell in connection with the Delphi murders, but it states he is not the first person accused of an abduction crime to be looked into, adding other people who were investigated never turned out to be suspects in the case. Chadwell has pleaded not guilty to the charges against him in connection with the 9-year-old girl.
Okay, but isn't that speculation? So, Dodie, I don't know who you are, so let me put a disclaimer on this. I don't know much about this case. I only got into this case within the last week. So, if I ask dumb questions, then I ask dumb questions. So, that's my disclaimer. So, don't think I'm an expert. This is one case I never really got into until this last week. So, bear with me on the questions. But isn't that just speculation that he didn't take the phone because it would attract him? These aren't geniuses. These aren't bright people. These aren't people that I think could get away with murder. So I don't know if I believe they even thought that far ahead, especially in 2017. GPS isn't like what it is now. So I kind of gonna throw that theory might be wrong. It's a good theory, but I don't believe it. And you're right. He may not have known that they were getting tracked, but he would have known when he changed their clothes that there was a phone. That he would have known. Oh, did it? Did it? And Gray is very anti. I spoke to Gray last night. He's very Richard Allen's guilty. And I think there's much more to it. And I don't think this guy right here is 5'5", and Richard Allen is 5'5". Just looking at this guy, his legs are longer than 5'5". 5'5" is short on a man. And that's not a 5'5" guy. I mean, it's not a 6'2" guy, but it's not a 5'5" guy. And that's a big indication to me. Now, this lawyer Lee that I was watching last night, again, I never saw her before. I don't know who she is. She came up in my algorithm, so I'm like, yeah, let me check her out. She gave a good theory that there was another guy there, that there was another person there. And maybe Richard Allen was there, but wasn't the one that actually did the killing. Well, actually, it's not impossible to tell, John. I'll show you why. Something I found from a couple of years ago. Where'd it go? Hold on, let me find it. Uh-oh. Oh, where'd my thing go? I lost it. So I showed it before. I don't know what happened to it. Here it is. Are you familiar with trigonometry? Bridge guy's height is around 5'10". Thank you, Truth Matters. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was just about to show again. That according to someone that did trigonometry, and if you look at it, it makes perfect sense that Bridge guy is 5'10", 5'10.5", and Richard Allen is 5'5". But they came up with the conclusion, but without, even if you suck at math like me, if you look at this guy, the bridge across is 5'11.5". If you look at him laying this way, he would be almost the length of the bridge. So it's not far off. If you just lay him down, he's going to be most of the bridge. You can see that. That's just logic, like without even looking at the calculations. Truth Matters. Are you the one that gave Andrea Burkhart a super chat yesterday and you met her in person? Is that you? And the reason I'm asking, not that you gave her a super chat, but I was watching it and I heard her say Truth Matters, that you met her. She's the one that got me into this case. Because I wasn't into it for years, but she got me into it. That wasn't you? All right. There was a Truth Matters that met her and had given her a super chat because they met her. So she was like, they were like, totally think Richard Allen's being set up. But just based on these calculations and just looking at it and laying him down, the calculations are right. He is about 5'10". If this bridge is 5'10.5", and I lay him down, he's going to be most of the bridge. So I totally agree with this calculation. It's Gray's work and tech video looking at height that leads me. Yeah, but even looking at just his leg length. Here's his leg. Here's his foot. Here's his leg. If you lay him down, he's going to be almost the whole bridge. All right. I kick my mic out. No leg between knee and ankle. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. See, that's what I'm saying. He's adamant that bridge guy is Richard Allen, and I don't think I agree. Like, isn't Richard Allen much thinner? Like I said, according to calculations, I mean, they have a whole mathematical thing here. And, I mean, it looks good. So then I was looking through here. Oh, you're in the UK? Oh, he has thinned out in prison? I was wondering. And where'd the sketch come from? That's my other question. Because that sketch, though, looks nothing like Richard Allen at all. So, but without even going too great for a minute, that's one of the things that has fascinated me about this case is how divided everybody is. So I want to play some stuff from some people. I thought it was guilty, but now it's pretty clear he isn't. Interesting. Why do you say that, though? Let's see. But like here, none of these look like him. Then here was when that was October, right after he was arrested. And I heard Crime Circus did a video, but he's a big conspiracy guy, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure what his video shows. Aha. All right. But you have if you just did that, you have him laying all the way at the end. Huh? I think you have his legs too high though. So this is what Annie just put together. Oh. But I think you have his legs too far over. What the fuck was that? Here, I just seen something just fly. I saw like a black shadow just like fly across. Like, no joke. You're gonna get eaten by a bug. I don't know what it was. If you can put his legs to here, though, not all the way up here. No, I'm serious. I heard it too. It was like, I thought it was a dog. It was probably a fly. But whatever it was, it like flew. And it touched something because I heard it. But you know what I mean? But according to this calculation, he would only come up to about here. I don't know. Someone measured it, said it was 5'10" and a half, 5'11" and a half. But if you could put his legs inside here and do the same thing, but put it inside here, and then we could see. See, I know about that, but is it cult? Is it? Okay, see, that's better. Hold on. All right, so check it out. Yep. So that's someone, if the bridge is 5'11" and a half, and his head would come to about here, that's not someone 5'10". That's someone like 5'7", right? I just heard that tonight, Ghost. State said Libby's body was moved, yet there's no drag marks in crime scene photos. I literally just heard that tonight. I don't know. This is iffy, but this definitely puts a different perspective on it. It would come to about there. Hey, Justice. Stays lit have been changing this story day by day. So you think he's short? 5'11". See, that's the other thing. I don't know if they are measuring from the outside points as 5'11" and a half or the inside as 5'11" and a half. I'll tell you though, that's why I think it was James Caldwell. Abby was the heavier one, right? And Libby was the thinner one, or am I wrong? Now, let me just say, Justice, I've had this conversation with other people in other cases. Oh, Libby was the heavier one, okay. And I stand by this. If I was ever in a situation of they think I did something, I might lie too. Even if I'm innocent. Just because I don't want to be put in that position, if they say to me like, "Well, where were you?" I'm sorry. I wasn't there. I didn't do it. I think a lot of people would lie. Or if you were there and like if I was at a scene, let's say I was went hiking with my dog and it was just me and the dog. And then there was a murder and they found something that I threw there and they try to connect me to it. I might lie and say that I wasn't there. I was never there because I don't want to be framed for something, knowing I didn't kill anyone. I didn't cause any murder. So I might lie and say that I wasn't somewhere. And then I could probably get in trouble, but you know what I'm saying. So I don't think it's that far-fetched that someone would lie about being somewhere. If something horrible went down, you get the feeling that you might be framed for it. So I understand that. And I know that sounds crazy, but I really do. All right. It's telling me that the state did not ask one witness that's seen him, is this the man you've seen that day? Yeah, I will give kudos to all of these people, all these lawyers that are getting the play-by-plays at court. They're all doing a fantastic job. I mean, they really are. So I dropped the link if anyone wants to come up. Yes, Libby is heavier. And why was James Caldwell eliminated as a suspect? That's what I want to know. Because he looks a lot more like the sketch than Richard Allen. And again, for those of you that weren't here earlier, my biggest question literally is if they found a bullet that matched Richard Allen's gun, then why did it take them 7 years to connect it? And with that, like I said, Duty Ron had this whole gun expert people, and it was very confusing. And I know I wasn't the only one confused, but here's some of the comments from it. This round was ejected 3 times. So perpetrator racked his gun 3 times. So did he pick up his round 2 times while trying to control 2 girls to finally leave the same round at crime scene? Yeah, right. Another one said it puts his gun at the crime scene. It puts his kind of gun which is extremely popular in Indiana, at the crime scene. Someone else said, okay, but why didn't those marks show up before she fired it? If his gun did it unfired in 2017, to match it didn't need to be fired in 2024. So what they were talking about, I guess whoever fired the gun had to fire it in order to show those marks. But the one that was at and for those of you that know, correct me if I'm wrong, those that have been following the case, I guess whoever did it had to fire the gun in order to make a mark, but the one in 2017 didn't make a mark. Did I understand that right? Another one was the 2 unfired didn't match. Another one said bad actors. Burkhart was livid. But I thought she couldn't match it without firing it. The 3 rotation didn't work. I don't think she proved a point in court. Confusion, yes, positive, she didn't. But see, that's what I thought too, Brooklyn. Brooklyn says, I don't believe you can really match an unspent bullet to any gun. It's crazy. I was thinking the same thing. And I'm not a gun expert, but how do you match just a casing? That's ridiculous. Many people come out saying the video looked like Ron. People that knew him said it was him in the BG video. You mean Richard? Ron people or Richard people? Someone else said, I think it's bullshit, and I think they're framing this guy. If she had to shoot that bullet out and couldn't replicate the markings without firing it, then I wouldn't believe a word that she says. Someone else says, the fact that she couldn't replicate the marks when she ejected the round means that it was not a match. She could have tested the ejection with different racking forces, but she didn't. Someone else said, YouTube actors. I would love to have, someone said, would you want Richard Allen as a neighbor? I would love to have Richard Allen as a neighbor. Actually, I wouldn't want someone like you who's assuming this man is guilty with no proof as a neighbor. Having to fire the cartridge to make the marks makes no sense to me. The marks were made by not firing the cartridge. I mean, it really is just crazy, crazy comments. I mean, everyone is so divided. But those were comments I picked up from Duty Ron's chat when they were going through the gun. But I really felt like they were back and forth. Yeah, I heard they can't exclude any gun. I thought she said she could replicate the marks by firing or ejecting and the marks would be the same. Yeah, but he never ejected it. He never fired the gun. it seems the casing was just there. But I mean, was that a hunting area? Was there, hey Suzanne, was that a place that people went? Did people bring guns there all the time? But again, if it was matched to Richard Allen, why wait 7 years? Why would you need 7 years before doing anything? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. Yeah, he ejected it, but he didn't fire it. And I don't, hold on, let me look something up. Hold on. And Andrea Burkhart and this lawyer Lee made a really good point yesterday. And they're right. If this is not a setup, and this is, they firmly believe that this is Richard Allen, then why aren't they allowing the public to view it? Why are they not allowing the public to see it? What are they so afraid of? And what are they hiding? And they're 100% right. And I agree with that. What are they hiding? Why can't the general public see it? It doesn't add up. When you fire a gun, the bullet goes through the barrel and scrapes as it ejects. How could you compare one mark on an unspent bullet, say it was made from ejecting 3 separate times? Hold on, I want to look something up. Brooklyn, the link is posted if you want to come up. I left it open panel because I don't know much. That's what I'm saying. They didn't match the bullet to the gun until they searched his house when they arrested him. And then they found a single bullet in some kind of box, right? Okay, there is no way to match a random casing to a specific gun. Microstamping isn't real. But it is feasible to match casing to a specific firearm depending on whether there is unique enough damage or wear and tear. But they have to have been fired. Yeah, Ron had like 156 guns. All right, let's take a look at this. Yeah, Ron Logan had like 156 different guns, which is ludicrous. Why you need that many guns, I have no idea.
Colorado Springs saw its deadliest mass shooting last month. And as the investigation continues, one of the biggest questions remains, how did the shooter get a hold of a gun he didn't buy himself? We're taking a deep dive only on News 5 tonight on a national database helping law enforcement get these answers and solve crimes. Our Colette Bordelon takes us behind the scenes to show us how investigators find the person behind the gun.
October 24th, 2017.
Pueblo 911, this is Stephanie. How can I help you?
A mom calling about her son.
Somebody shot him.
Derek Regalado, found dead by his own parents.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. He goes to work every day. He's a postman in trouble.
What was at the scene? 4 shell casings.
Get sent to shots fired. One of their first things that they're looking for is victims, damage to homes, vehicles, and with a major emphasis in the recovery of shell casings.
Detective Greg Egan has spent the majority of his life around guns.
I don't think you'd fear the gun, the bullet. It's the person behind that gun.
Zooming into Pueblo, you can see the parts of town that experience the most drive-by shooting. 100 total gun cases and more than 100.
There's average of 22 reports a month of somebody reporting their gun as being stolen.
When a gun comes off the streets, Detective Egan.
That's a shooter, and that shooter needs to come off the street.
Called NIBIN.
I don't even recall.
Shell casings are plugged into the database, along with recovered casings from crime scenes.
We get that shell casing result back, and it'll tell us that that gun was used at another scene, which might give us something to go on that we never would have had before.
But first, the casings head to the Colorado Bureau of Investigations in Pueblo.
When it comes into the lab, it's assigned a CBI case number,
where Janelle Lyons takes over.
Give those leads to link the scenes.
A special machine takes advanced pictures, which then head to the NIBIN database, where Lyons examines them closely.
It'll return somewhere around 50 to 100 images that it says we should take a look at.
She sees things many people may miss.
As we move back and forth, the lines really stay in good.
All right, I don't think this is the same. I think this is the after it's been shot. But the shell casings found at Delphi were not. It was never shot out of the gun, right?
Agreement.
In a city where already in 2021, the total number of shots fired with casings has nearly doubled when compared to the same time period in 2020. NIBIN has generated around 20 leads each year.
Hopefully, get that off the street before something else happens.
And thinking back to the 4 shell casings found at the murder scene in 2017, which originally didn't have any leads through NIBIN.
Each firearm is kind of set up to where it's like a thumbprint, a fingerprint. There are no 2 guns alike.
That fingerprint sealed the fate of the shooter more than a year later, when they were arrested in Colorado Springs and found with the same firearm.
You went from almost nothing to the right piece fell in place, to the next piece that fell in place, to getting a 47-year sentence. That speaks volumes.
A case closed.
Had NIBIN not been there, would we have gotten there? Maybe.
And
here's what I don't understand about guns, though. Whistle down. Are you still here? I need Todd. Here's what I don't understand about guns. They're saying that guns, like there's no 2 guns that are the same, which makes no sense to me, because if I went and bought a shotgun from Walmart, every single shotgun sold at Walmart is not different. The bullets that go in there are all the same. So how are they different for each and every gun? I really don't understand that. I don't understand how they say that every single gun is different when you can tell me every single shotgun sold at Walmart is different. You get a gun in a magazine and you're not the only one buying that. They make hundreds of them. So I don't get that about guns. Like, honestly, I don't see how everyone is different. They're not mass produced. Of course they are. All right. That's what I'm saying. I call bullshit too. Hold on. All right. Has anybody not watched Andrea Burkhart? I mean, I'm obviously not going to play 4 hours of video. But she really had some good coverage. All right, what's this? Someone said they tested the hair today. I mean, not today, but like within the last couple of days. I've been listening. I heard Defense Diaries once. I found Lawyer Lee yesterday. But both of them have like hours worth. I'm not going there. Should we peek in at Gray's? No, he'll kill me. No, she's not at all. Hey, Keith. I'm trying to find. What does Nancy Grace say? I'm not a fan, but she's entertaining. Does she think guilty or innocent?
Bows his head and prays before photos of little Abby, 13, and Liberty, 14, are displayed before the jurors. The girls nude, semi-clad, and murdered. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us.
As soon as you get into town, I mean, it's picturesque, it's beautiful, everybody's super friendly.
You're talking about Delphi, Indiana.
It was supposed to be a walk in the woods shared by two friends. Abby Williams and Libby German went to this hiking trail near Delphi's Monon High Bridge.
But there's no way you find that bridge if you're not from there.
When the girls didn't return to the spot where they were supposed to be picked up, their families knew something was wrong.
They thought maybe the girls were hurt. That bridge is treacherous. And they never thought they would hear that the girls were murdered.
Carroll County Sheriff's Deputy Darren Giancola, the first deputy to arrive at the scene, said he was called to the area of Deer Creek because they had been told members of a search party found something, possibly bodies. Giancola says there were multiple people in the area when he saw a multicolored shirt and a shoe in the water. He said when he first saw the bodies of Abby and Libby, one was nude, the other was clothed. Giancola said he did not perform life-saving measures on the girls because it was apparent they were deceased.
Joining us, an investigative reporter who has been there in the courtroom, Barbara McDonald, joining us from Delphi, documentary producer and co-host of Down the Hill podcast. Barbara, thank you so much for being with us. Barbara, so many bombshells in that courtroom. I want to start with the fact that now we know why the girls
She's so intense. Like, you don't need this much drama. Just fucking talk. I never understood that about her. She's just so drama-filled.
Clothing was soaked. And yesterday, Barbara, I couldn't figure out why did one person see a t-shirt in a tree. Now I know. Please explain.
Yeah, so we heard from several of the crime scene investigators who arrived and described finding the clothing of the girls in the creek. There were about 3 different areas where the clothing was in the creek, and 2 of those areas, the clothing was sort of stuck on debris in the creek. The hoodie, the gray hoodie that Abby had been wearing that had belonged to Kelsey German. We saw Abby wearing that in that Snapchat image that Libby posted of the girls before their abduction. That was submerged in the creek. All of the clothing that was collected from the creek was inside out, including Abby's jeans, Libby's tie-dye t-shirt, that gray hoodie, 2 socks, one black, one pink. And then we heard that the girls were found, Libby was completely nude, and Abby was wearing Libby's jeans and hoodie, along with a gray sports bra that we believe belonged.
Okay. How would Libby's clothes fit on Abby? That would be impossible. If Libby wears like a size 0, for example, how would they get on a 200-pound girl? They couldn't. They wouldn't go past her ankles. That's like me trying to put on a size 4. You know what would happen? It wouldn't get past my calf. Oh, Abby, I keep thinking Libby was the smaller one. Okay, my bad. I don't know why I keep thinking Libby was the smaller one. I do have it mixed up. I don't know why either. I just, in my mind, I keep thinking Libby was the smaller one.
Belonged to Abby. And Abby also had her shoes on when she was found, those Converse sneakers we saw in that same Snapchat image. Nancy?
Guys, you're seeing photos of the girls now, and joining us from the courthouse there in Delphi. Joining us from Delphi is Barbara McDonald. I want to talk about the significance, Barbara, as to why the girls' clothes were soaked. Why, when their bodies were found well after the murders, their clothing was still soaked. Were they forced to wade across the creek?
That is the theory from the state, that Richard Allen forced these girls off the bridge down the hill to a secluded area on the south side of the creek, but then was interrupted during that attack, that he intended to have his way with these girls down at the bottom of the hill, but was interrupted and then forced them to cross the creek over onto Ron Logan's property, where they were killed at the scene where they were found. The images that we found also showed large amounts of blood at that scene. But the crime scene investigators described the clothing that Abby was wearing, all of it, the hoodie, the jeans, as well as her shoes, all being damp or wet to the touch. And they said it could not have come from condensation. It could not have come from being out in the elements overnight, that it definitely was from the creek. They also had a lot of that silt and that sort of dirt that's in the creek and debris on their clothing, as well as for Abby, even though she was found wearing her shoes, they did show some images of her feet after her shoes had been removed. Her feet were dirty, had some of that silty sort of sand.
Okay, now thinking as like a profiler, what was Richard Allen's history prior to this? Like, did he have a history of doing fucked up shit to kids? Did he have a history of battering women? Like, what was his criminal history? Because thinking as a profiler, whoever did this, this was thought out. This was not somebody that's never been in trouble with the law. Oh, he was married? Oh yeah, that's right. He was married. This is not something. I mean, this is a real calculated murder. Not only did he target them because he knew they were on the bridge. So he was watching them, targeting them, killed them, and didn't just leave them for dead. He changed their clothes. He left their clothes. He made one of them naked and one of them not. And again, thinking as a profiler, he did that maybe to embarrass her. Maybe he had issues with an overweight child. Like there's so much more to it. This wasn't a mastermind. This wasn't, I mean, the whole area as a whole, we're not talking a wealthy area. We're talking, for lack of a better way to say it, kind of low life area. I know, I remember hearing the family comes from drugs. It wasn't a good family. They washed Abby up. Her hands were clean. The clothes were still wet. I think, despite what the state says, I think he was spent all night with them. I don't think he killed them, moved them, and left, and then they were found the next day. If their clothes were still wet, then he was still with them. So I have a very hard time believing that a man who's never been in trouble with the law, who's 52 years old, who has no criminal record, who's a husband and a father. I have a hard time believing that he went to this length and got the little one totally dressed while the other one is completely naked. There is nothing more mortifying than being found naked, dead. And yet the other one, he kept covered up. I just have a really hard time believing that someone with no criminal record goes to that length. But I don't think it was a crime of opportunity. And why, though? If he has no criminal record, the length that it went to go to kill 2 children. And like I said, I believe that they were with them overnight. I don't believe that he just killed them and left them. If their clothes were still wet, then odds are they had they had another, like, he stayed with them. He may not have even killed them immediately. They could have died the next day. I don't know. And that's another thing. Where is the DNA? How do you change someone's clothes and there's no DNA? How do you touch all over and you're not a criminal mastermind? How does that happen with no DNA? Okay, maybe you were wearing gloves. What about your clothes? Your clothes never touch them? Your clothes, no part of your clothes touch them? Which makes me believe Bridge Guy is not the one that killed them. bridge guy may have brought them to somebody else. Do you want to be on camera? Hi, Chris.
Hi, thanks for letting me join.
What?
Wow. So, what do you guys think of the trial so far? I mean, gee, I guess the only real evidence they even have against Richard Allen is that bullet and his confessions. But do you guys think that's enough?
What? Okay. Chris, are you going to speak right?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear me now?
Yes. Are you going to speak right?
Yeah, I already spoke, but I guess I'll speak again. So, what do you guys think of the trial so far?
Can you put your glasses on right?
Pardon? Do you guys think Richard Allen is guilty?
No.
Okay.
All right. Libera's probably heavier than him and stronger too. Yeah, but why the both clothes? And how did he lift her? How did he lift Libby? Where were the marks? Like it there had to be a second person. There's no way there wasn't. Down the hill could mean that he brought them to a different person and then left. So in all fairness, bridge guy could be Richard Allen. But Richard Allen isn't the one that killed him. Now, do I think he would have said something already? Probably. He said the phone turned on in the night and was, see? So I'm right. And I don't even know about this case. That's what I'm saying. He was there with them. I don't know what their time of death was. I know they were found the next day. But I believe that he stayed with them overnight. So, hey, Adrian. So if Richard Allen was home that night, then it wasn't him. That excludes him immediately. So there's my theory. Okay, they don't get a specific time of death. They just know that she was found the next day. That they were found the next day. So again, not knowing anything about specifics, I truly believe that that whoever killed them was with them all night. I didn't know about that phone thing. I didn't know about the phone. But if that's true, then that goes with my theory 100%. And again, I say, whoever Bridge Guy was doesn't mean he's the only killer. Bridge Guy could have brought the girls to somebody else, and Bridge Guy could have left. Now, the second person theory I got from Lawyer Lee last night, because I never thought maybe there was another person. But now that I think about it and I use that theory, that makes perfect sense. And now you're telling me about the phone, that makes even more sense. So if the phone was out and about and moving around, then a killer was with them that night. So if Richard Allen was home that night, then Richard Allen is innocent. And I hate to say it, but it's that simple. And I don't know how they're not how'd they get the sketches though? One of the witnesses, right? When there was a witness that said he saw someone or something. That's where the sketches came from, right? It was created at 2 a.m. They reported to police. Police said, you know what's so funny, Criminal Med? I had this conversation with somebody yesterday or this morning. I have a very good friend whose son is named Keegan Klein. So every time I hear that name, I have to laugh because I'm like, no, Keegan's not a murderer. I mean, they're not from Indiana, they're from Iowa, but I just thought it was funny. They had 4 sketches, but only ever put out 2 sketches. All witnesses, all different sketches. So maybe there's 4 people. See, Richard Allen was home that night. Then Richard Allen is not your murderer. It's that simple. He's not your murderer. Because the murderer was with them all night. So was Richard Allen bridge guy? Maybe. But he's not the murderer. Is there any more information about the phone, Criminal Med? That the phone was out and about? Yeah, Gray is dead set. No, he didn't. All right, so let's back up. Gray's not saying that Richard Allen is the murderer per se. He's saying that Richard Allen is bridge guy. The police are saying bridge guy is Richard Allen. And the police is saying that there's only one suspect, and that's the bridge guy murdered the girls. All right, let me double check that, Blissful. Hang on. Because if that's like important in my theory. And Abby didn't have a phone, only Libby did? Okay. 4 days ago, Cecil said the phone pings confirmed Libby's cell phone was in the vicinity of the bridge at 2:05 p.m. A photo posted Snapchat distracted and linked to Libby's German cell phone. Libby's cell phone produced the infamous Down the Hill video and audio clip, which was played in its entirety for jurors on Tuesday. During previous family testimony, it was noted Abby did not have a cell phone at the time of her death. Libby's phone ended up being found underneath Abby's body. Cecil told jurors police investigators used phone towers to ping Libby's German's phone. The girls vanished while walking on the trails near the Monon High Bridge on February 13th, 17. Libby's sister previously testified to dropping the girls off the trails at 1:40. All right. At 2:13, Libby took the infamous bridge guy photo that captures a man walking behind the girls, telling them, guys down the hill. At 2:31, cell phone records note a change in longitude, altitude, and elevation. Cecil explained this meant the phone was on the move as the girls were reportedly led down a hill and possibly across Deer Creek. By 2:32, the phone was no longer moving. It never moved again, nor did it ever ping out anywhere outside the trails. Deer Creek and the site where the girls' bodies would be found on February 14th. So yeah, it didn't move at night. Originally, Cecil noted in a report the phone died at 10:32 p.m., but then the phone spiked at 4:34 a.m. and received 15 to 20 text messages all at once, including a message sent nearly 12 hours prior by Libby's grandmother that said, "Call me now." Those messages were never answered. Cecil stated he no longer believed the phone died at 10:32 and called his previous conclusion premature. Additional information led Cecil to believe the phone stayed on until, and this is all from testimony. So this is all recent. It was from forgot what day, but it's from the trial. Additional led Cecil to believe the phone stayed on to 4:34 when it received the numerous text messages. He also noted there was no indication that the phone was ever turned off after its last movement near 2:30. Okay, so what we know about phones, let's use some logic here. So the last time the girls used the phone were at 2:32. A phone doesn't automatically turn on after not being used for all those hours. So the phone probably died and somebody charged it. And when they charged it is where you get that spike at 4:34. This is phone concept 101. It's not hard, it's not rocket science. Somebody obviously charged the phone, which caused it to go on, which got you the spike at 4:34 a.m. So it goes back to who charged the phone, because it wasn't them. So maybe they turned it off. The killer turned it off and then turned it back on at 4:34. I don't think they were dead the 13th. I don't think they died till the 14th. I don't know why. I just do. That's the only way that you're going to get 15 or 20 messages come in at once. It's going to be if you turn your phone back on. I mean, we've all had cell phones that die. And then once you turn your phone back on, you get all the messages that you didn't get because your phone was dead. So either Libby turned the phone off at 2:30 when she put it away, or someone turned it back on, and that's where you got all the messages. It's possible, we don't know, but it's possible that Libby turned it back on, and that's when they were killed because the guy got nervous and killed them. It could be out of range, but odd that it would be out of range that long. Because they say that they were found not too far from where they were, and if they were originally had service, then I don't know. It did say they changed elevation, which tells me it may have gone in the water, maybe. So then they said the phone died at 10:32, which could be when it was turned off. He noted there was no indication the phone was ever turned off after its last movement. Maybe not, but we know that it was turned on. Yeah, but even with we're going back to 2017. Remember, don't think 2024, think 2017. 2017, it wasn't as updated as it is now. And did she have an iPhone or a Samsung? Well, question remained about the phone's period of inactivity. Locator pings never placed the phone outside of the High Bridge area. and the site near Deer Creek where the girls' bodies in the phone were found. This lack of movement cast doubt on the defense team's floated theory of a possible abduction and off-site killing. Andrew Baldwin, one of Allen's defense attorneys, floated the theory early on in the trial. Baldwin theorized that a killer could have forced the girls into a vehicle and driven them to another site to murder them before returning and dumping the bodies at Creek Bend. But the cell phone data already links the girls to the site where their bodies would be found at 2:33 p.m., a site multiple crime scene investigators noted was saturated with pools of blood. I don't think they died until the 14th. The girls were first noted as missing around 3:30 on the 13th, roughly an hour after the phone quit moving. When Libby's father came to pick up the girls, their bodies weren't found until shortly after noon on February 14th. Testimony moved on from Libby's phone to 23 different devices seized from Richard Allen's possession. But these devices weren't seized until November of 22, 5 years after the girls' deaths. Nothing linked Allen to Abby or Libby was found on any of these devices besides searches about the murder investigation. It was noted that Allen had a different phone in 17. However, the investigators never found it. He no longer had that phone when police came calling in 2022 after finding an old report placed Allen on the trails on February 13th of 2017, leading police to decide to take a closer look into the man. Testimony will resume on Thursday. Okay, what old report placed Allen on the trails on the 13th? Yeah, but in 2017, phones didn't last that long. Like, you couldn't go all day. Especially if you were using it to update and you were posting on Snapchat. The odds of your phone lasting until 4 o'clock in the morning are slim to none. They crossed over the water to end up on Ron Logan's backyard, as he said. Let's see. That was Fox. This is day 4. I think I watched this already. All right. They say enhanced video. I don't know how enhanced it is. I don't think it's enhanced at all.
But the video played today is a new portion. It's a very clear video, unlike the one we've seen in the past. It starts with Libby recording the trail and turning the camera to record Abby, who is behind her. Abby is the only one in frame, but quickly after that, you can see Bridgman come into view and get closer to Abby. Libby points the phone down and you can hear the girls talk for the first time in this video. It was something along the lines of, "There's no path, so we have to go down," and the girls discussing where the trail ends. The witnesses who were on the bridge that day were also shown the infamous Bridgman picture. They all testified that that's the same man they had seen on the trail earlier that day. Jurors were also presented a lot of the evidence that was collected at the scene, including items like shoes and undergarments. And although they were not able to see inside those bags that collected that evidence, they were able to hold it and pass it around. For now, reporting in Delphi, Erica Jimenez, 6.
You would make a good Delphi trivia team. The actual video is much further away. You can barely notice them. I don't think it's Richard Allen. I don't. Let me rephrase that. I don't think Richard Allen's the killer. Is Richard Allen bridge guy? Maybe. Is he the killer? I don't think so. I really don't.
Able to see inside
That doesn't mean he's not bridge guy.
Jurors were
But that to me doesn't look like Richard Allen. What does Ron Logan look like? And what did Richard Allen dress like? I agree, AP. I don't think he is. It just doesn't add up. Oh, I think I remember hearing that Ron Logan died. But he dressed just like Bridge Guy in his interview. I agree RA is too short. So how did Ron Logan die? Was Ron Logan and Richard Allen friends? Could Richard Allen have brought the girls to him? Oh, he died of COVID. Look at Brad, last name. Brad who? For those of you coming in, let me say I'm not that familiar with this case. I found out yesterday. I mean, I just got into it this week. So don't kill me on specifics. Brad
earlier that day.
Abby's boyfriend, Logan Holder, and his father, Brad Holder. Amber Holder is briefly married to Brad Holder. This is from 7 months ago. Brad is one to look out for real. I think I remember this. I remember this vaguely. That's what I'm looking for, a photo of him. All right, I'm going to show you guys what I'm looking at. So if I find something. I don't think that's it. All right, this didn't get me anywhere. Any lawyers? Okay. Any lawyers out there that would like to help me sue a bunch of people, please get a hold of me. Thank you for your support. He's in a band? Isn't that the same type of gun? Isn't that the type of gun the casing came from? This was in 2016. So that's him, but it's hard to tell. Oh, that was Patrick? At least one of the brand. This was the Odin theory. This I remember. This is when I read into the case, and then people were like, no, it's not true, blah, blah, blah. Sad part is, in almost all Odinism, those kind of sacrifices that were made were almost actually all volunteers during rituals. So it'd almost be out of characteristics for Odinites to ritually kill those two Delphi girls. Would it not? Sorry you're going through this shit, brother. Grandpa, a major Odinist, but had a fight and no longer buds. Major losers. I think they're all losers. That's what I'm saying, though. I don't doubt that. From I don't know, guys. I don't think Richard Allen did it. I think here he looks like a fucking serial killer, not here. I think here he looks like a normal dad. Not that, you should judge by looks, but you know what I'm saying. I don't know. His son was dating Abby. Wait, Abby was the one that was fully clothed, right? Yeah, Abby was the one that was clothed. And his son was dating Abby, which could be why she was clothed. Because that was his son's girlfriend. That makes sense. He wanted to keep her covered up. he was protecting her. I mean, that makes perfect sense. I don't think so, Annie. Well, the girls weren't essayed, right? Hold on, I gotta let the dog in. Whoops. Ooh. Sorry, I forgot you were outside. What? Pull everything out of garbage. You're such a pain in the butt. Ah. See, but here's the thing. Which, I mean, from a judge's standpoint, I kind of understand. If they think it's like absurd and ludicrous, they're not going to let it in. But a good lawyer would somehow figure out how to get it in there. Textbook examples of a ritualistic murder. The bodies were staged with branches placed on them in a way that resembles symbols. Like, from what I see, though, I just don't see Richard Allen being this mastermind. I just don't. He just doesn't come across that bright to me. Search and reviewed autopsy records, crime scene photos, social media posts, some of the alleged odorness. Defense contends may have been involved in the deaths. I mean, that's one of the main things that I've always said. Like, in order to pull a crime like this and get away with it for all these years and not leave evidence behind and do it the way they did, you would absolutely have to be smart. I mean, this isn't like, 5 seconds. Go play the short video that Gray did about the video. Make sure you see how this went down. Which video? Yeah, AP, I agree with you. Not one person. Gray is biased, but smart, powerful, or both? Which video, Amanda? Do I sound shallow? My microphone seems like it's making noise. Who's lying about the trial? Let me just say something, though. I'll put this out there about my friend Gray. Me and Gray do not see eye to eye 99% of the time. We have had fights, literally had fights. Last night when I text him, okay, for those of you that may not know me, I just spent a year going through cancer treatments. Do you know that was the first thing he asked me? How are you? How are you feeling? How's treatment? Like, he totally was concerned about me, like put totally Delphi aside. And I thought that was awesome of him. I mean, I've been friends with people that don't ask me like that. So I thought that was really cool. So I got nothing bad to say about Gray at all. Yeah, he is like that, Dre. Or D. Sorry, I called you Dre. I was thinking Drea. Amanda, which video though? Did he play it tonight? Yeah, he totally disagrees with the attorneys. And I told him, I said, Gray, these aren't dumb people. These are like very educated people. He does get tunnel vision. Absolutely. It's the first video under his videos. Hold on. The one that says no in the crime scene area from 2 days ago? You guys show me which video. You said the first one with this one? Hirschman syndrome. Yeah, I'm on his videos. Which one though? He does great reenactments. I'll give him that. You guys see the one he did on Jodi Arias. It was phenomenal. He did a reenactment of Jodi Arias. That was fantastic. Which video am I looking at? This one I showed already. If you're talking about this one. That's 20 minutes. The one I saw was like 2 minutes. But they called him a crime scene investigator. They're like cold case investigator, Gray Hughes. It's called Delta. You mean Delphi? No other crime scene area. Yeah, that's the last one. All right, hold on. All right, I didn't play it with sound though. I gotta put sound back on. Oh.
YouTube, please hit that like button, share, and subscribe. So here's going to be sort of a detailed breakdown of the map and the area where everything is so that you can have it as a reference. So when people are talking about things at trial, you actually know where they are. Now, if you're somebody that's watched my channel, you already know all this stuff, but there's a lot of new people watching, so they do not know and they're not aware of where everything is in relation to each other. All right, so this is the town of Delphi right here. And Richard Allen lived right here on Whiteman Drive. And a trial, I mean, when there was a tip put in by himself, he actually called in the tip line. He said, Richard Allen. And the person who took the tip on the phone said, Richard Allen Whiteman. And then Dan Doolin, the conservation officer who went out to talk to him on the 18th of February, realized that, oh, his last name is Allen and he lives on Whiteman Drive. So he's the one that corrected that information. The CVS pharmacy where Richard Allen worked is right there. It's about 1.25 miles as the crow flies from his house. The courthouse is right here. But let's take a look at the street that Richard Allen lives on. And here is that street. And we'll be coming up that house that has a trailer. That's Richard Allen's house with that huge shrub on the left-hand side, shrub tree.
1967.
That's his house right there. It was his house.
Is it my speakers or does his microphone sound really muffled?
The one right here on the right with the edge.
Okay, and if we go back to Google Earth, we were just right here driving by. There's one more house there. Those right here are those huge shrubs, and then that's how you exit the house. And I think he actually drove to the crime scene by going this direction and then 450 north, then on 300 like this and around and up, and then he ends up parking at the abandoned CPS building. But let's show you where all the locations are. So here's Richard Allen's home, and the Monon High Bridge is right here. Okay, so let's zoom back out again. Keep that in mind. And we'll measure it as a crow flies from his house. If he was just to be able to fly there, it's, let's see, it is.
Okay, this is boring me, so I'm just curious, what am I looking for? Between a muffled and the boringness, what am I looking for? I'd rather watch the other video.
It's 1.25 miles. So almost the exact same distance it is from his house to the bridge as it is from his house to the CVS pharmacy. Takes a lot longer to drive, though, to the bridge. So let's zoom in on the important elements after I first say that Mike and Becky Patty live up in this area.
Okay, you're probably talking about the one I showed a few minutes of, which I was going to watch the whole thing, so hold on. I have a feeling it was this one that you wanted. Let me go back. He can be mean, without a doubt. I'm telling you, I've had many fights with him. Like many. And neither one of us backed down. Then I just stopped talking about cases that he's covering, or vice versa, because it was like bad. Yeah, this is the one I wanted to watch. Because I saw like 2 minutes of this.
Like button, share, and subscribe. Today's video is the animation that I made probably 6 years ago of the sequence at the end of the bridge and kind of how it was for the girls. Now, Becky, Patty watched this years ago and would tell people to watch this because it sort of indicates kind of how it went. I mean, obviously the camera that Libby was holding was moving around, quite a bit all over the place, and it was kind of hectic. But on this video, you'll see the bridge, and then at certain points, I'll put in animation of where I think the bridge guy was at specific points and where the girls were. Where they took the photographs is something absolutely known. We have the precise location on the bridge.
Oh, and by the way, when he is wrong and he knows he's wrong, he still won't admit it. There were times he came in my chat. I think it was about Kohlberger. And I went in his chat, actually. He's like, oh, you better get out of here, you idiot, with that stupid conspiracy theories. Take it to your own channel. So I said, you'll see. And sure enough, I was right. I said, where's my apology? And he just laughed. I was like, what, you can't admit when you're wrong?
Bridge, where the full length of the bridge shot was taken, and the shot of Abby from Libby on platform 3. So let's just play it right now. So this is just a video that I believe it's Bonnie Rain.
You wouldn't catch me dead walking over that bridge. Hell no. I'd be afraid it would crack and die.
Film this, and that's platform 1. That's apparently where Richard Allen said he was standing, and Betsy Blair was actually at the behind at the barriers, which at trial she said it was 50 feet away, but when you measure it, it was 114 feet. So I'm not sure. That's 37 yards. So I'm not really sure how good of a shot you would get of somebody, a picture in your mind of somebody from 37 yards away, which is, over a third of a football field. So this is what it looked like, and this is likely what Libby's video looked like in terms of quality. I think it had a very similar look to this. And coming up here is platform 2. And it's a little bit past platform 2 when the first photograph that we saw as a public, there's many more images and videos that were taken that day, but the only ones that the public currently have are the full-length shot of the bridge, the shot of Abby.
Was that always a bridge, or was it once like a railroad track or something? Oh, why would they even build a bridge like that? It's weird. But yeah, you wouldn't catch me dead walking over that. If someone was chasing me, I'd be like, well, you might as well just get me, because I'm not running over that.
From platform 3, and then also the video at the far end of the bridge way down there. All right, so we're approaching platform 2. And I mean, you can see.
I grew up in New York. We didn't have bridges like that.
The person filming here is trying to stay really steady and moving across, and they're not really walking that fast. And I know somebody that got across the bridge in 3.5 minutes the first time they were ever there. So somebody that was very confident, they could probably get across the bridge in, right around 3 minutes, 3:15, 3:30. And I think that's how fast Richard Allen was moving. I mean, he was on a mission. And when I say Richard Allen,
see, that's another thing. These are kids. They were 13 and 14. Why wouldn't they run? Why would they? Like, I can't imagine him being able to catch up with them as fast as they could get out. Like, they're kids. Just run. Stop.
I'm talking about Bridge Guy. Now look at right here. See this vine on the ground right there? You can see it on the bottom of the screen, and also look at the damaged railroad tie right there. You'll see that coming up here. So just remember this vine though. And this is the same spot. There's the damaged railroad tie. She bends down, and you'll see it here in the picture. And see the picture? There's the vine, and there's the damaged railroad tie. And so that's exactly where that photograph was taken. And that vine is actually right between her legs right there. And then there's platform 3 up there. And what I'll do is, after we go through this with me talking, I'll just play this entire thing again with, just some music in the background, so that you can just watch it without me saying anything and observe. But this is platform 3, and I kind of edit things differently in this video where I switch to animation. So here we go. You'll see platform 3, and then in just a moment, you'll switch over to Libby about to get on the platform, and this is kind of what it would probably look like from her point of view, looking, and she's getting ready to take the photograph. And if you look right there on the ground, if I hit pause here, see how it's damaged right there? Abby's standing right next to this, and you'll see her, I think her foot's on this railroad tie. We're about to see the full shot here, right there, and then she takes a picture, and the picture looks like that. And there's the damaged railroad tie, and her right foot is on the railroad.
Sorry. If that's Bridge Guy down here, you see what looks like could be a person. You guys don't see it on the screen. You see all the way in the back. I don't know why the cursor is not showing up. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Let me do it this way. All right. Is that Bridge Guy all the way down there? So how did he gain so much traction and that they couldn't run? Hey, Rachel. I only see one. I see that one. Oh, you're saying right here is another one? That's possible. But that might be a tree, but I think that's a person. But I just don't see how they couldn't. Are you sure that's a post?
Tie behind the damaged one, just like I showed you. And then they'll continue to move down the bridge. Now, in my original animation, I just kind of would switch to where they were, but I want you to see the full walk. This is her getting off of the platform 3. This will be the full walk of the bridge. Now, if you can see that next platform up there on the left, that's platform 4. See the tree on the right that kind of looks like a V? That's actually the forked tree that you see behind the suspect in the suspect video. So the bridge guy video, there's a forked tree in the background. Those are some of the trees that make up that look. And it's amazing how spread out everything really is. Because the camera is down low and it's a wide angle lens, it just has this look like the tree and that platform number 5 are right behind bridge guy. And in this case, it's Richard Allen, but it looks like it's right behind him, but it's really quite a ways back. Now, here's where I think is about where Richard Allen or bridge guy started coming towards the far end of the bridge. And this is them walking. They were just about at platform 4. And they're looking back saying, oh, God, he's coming. And so they're able to get almost to the end of the bridge. Libby makes it off the end of the bridge and is standing there. And she's holding the phone, as I've been saying for years, in a way that is sort of clandestinely filming the suspect. And it's, filming in different directions and so forth. And there's only a small portion, like maybe 2 seconds, that have the bridge guy in it. Now, right here, here's that forked tree right here on the right. That's what's making up the fork tree behind the bridge guy. And there's the platform that you see behind him in the images released. And believe it or not, the bridge guy is actually past platform 6 and is really about like 60 feet away from the end of the bridge when he's being filmed, or at least the still frames that we saw and the two seconds of video that was released. He's about like 57, 58 feet away from the end of the bridge. He looks small in the background, though. I just did an example last night on my show, and that's because, it's a wide angle lens and he's cropped out of a much larger picture. Now, this is much more stable, I'm imagining, than Libby's video. And on the right, if you look at the original photographs of the bridge guy, there's this little white nodule looking thing by his right foot. And it turns out that's a damaged side railing. And you can see it right now on the right. See how there's that discoloration there? And you'll be able to see it pretty well in this video. You can see it's really damaged there. And you can only see that if you're off the end of the bridge and the camera's low. So see right there on the right, there's that damaged side railroad tie. That's what makes up the white sort of nodule looking thing by his foot. Now, the suspect is right coming up here. He's only like about 5 or 6 feet past platform 6. And here it is. So this is Abby going off the end of the bridge, and just picture Libby was standing there just like that. And here he comes. And this is the video that I made. And then here comes the suspect, and he comes up on the girls at the end of the bridge. And that's the audio that's on the ISP website for Delphi. So I put that in there, okay? So when you watch this, you can just feel how horrifying it must have been for them that there's this guy that they saw earlier, obviously. They walked past him, and he probably walked down the trail a little bit and watched. He wanted them to feel comfortable getting onto the bridge, so he got back into the woods a little bit. And let me show you what I'm referring to. I think he walked back to maybe back in here. So here's the start of the bridge. And he walked back to maybe back in this area here and waited and watched the girls cross the creek, or the bridge even. And then when they're kind of over about in this area, he makes his move because now he knows that they would more likely go off the other end and he can trap them over there. So that's when I believe he hustles across. He gets across in 3 minutes. It took them, if this image here is at 2:07, and then Libby started filming at 2:13 and 51 seconds, then that's almost that's 6 minutes later when Libby started filming, and she's off the end of the bridge, but Abby's still on there. So they're walking. Abby's walking about a quarter the speed of the bridge guy. All right. So he gets off the end of the bridge, as we heard. There's a sound where it sounds like he's racking his gun, and he tells the girls to go down the hill. And Abby and Libby are wondering which way they can go, and there's nowhere to go, they were saying. And it's just absolutely horrifying. It's always felt that way. We've all had that feeling in life where you're.
Okay, here's the thing though. So I'm watching this video, and here's the thoughts going through my head. There's no way this was done by one person. You have a 14-year-old and a 13-year-old. One of those girls would have ran. He couldn't have held both of them because one of them was 200 pounds. He couldn't have held both of them together. Now, granted, if he was waving a gun around, could have been nervous. But if she started recording, according to Gray's calculation, if she started recording that far back, then you would have heard something other than down the hill. Hello, how are you? What are you doing? There would have been something. Telling a 13-year-old down the hill doesn't really mean much. Even if they were loyal to each other. I haven't been 14 or 13 in a long ass time. But if she had enough smarts to start recording, I think there would have been more words said than down the hill. So that leads me to believe they either knew the person and he was just saying down the hill, or there was somebody else there and then said down the hill. But I just find it very hard to believe that those are the only words that were said. Especially if Gray's calculation is right and she started recording when they were here and he was here. So if that's all that was said, that doesn't sit right with me. And I don't think that Richard Allen is this kind of mastermind. And why all of a sudden would he want to track two girls and kill them? Yeah, but that's in a minute time frame. And why'd the video end? Why didn't she let it keep recording? They didn't die right away. So why not let it keep recording? I'm telling you, he didn't act alone, and I don't believe he killed them. I really do think he was set up. And again, I'm not an expert on the case. Gray, don't hate me. But as someone who just got into this case, who doesn't know a ton about it and doesn't know the specifics in and out, as you can tell, I'm just going on logic. And logic tells me there's more to this. Some guy who has no criminal record, who's never been in trouble with the law, doesn't stalk two females that are his own daughter's age and hit them, threaten them with a gun on a bridge that he had to stalk them for, and didn't know them and just says down the hill. The fuck, that doesn't even make sense. And why'd you turn the phone off? And why were the clothes wet? Why were the clothes wet later on? Clothes wouldn't have been wet the following day unless they weren't killed. And why was the phone recharged at 4:30 in the morning? What happened to the phone in between? Amber, I do agree with that. But usually there's some kind of sign. Now, going on what some of the things you guys said tonight or told me tonight, let's look at Brad Holder. Brad Holder, his son was dating Abby. Abby was fully clothed. Why was his son's girlfriend the one that was fully clothed? Think about yeah, I'm still connected. My audio's working. It's just you. Why was Abby the one that was fully clothed? And that just so happens to be Brad's girlfriend. Richard Allen wouldn't give a fuck about Brad Holden's son's girlfriend. So he wouldn't purposely cover her up and put all the clothes on her. That doesn't make any sense. And if you're going to kill these two girls, why not hide them better? Why not bury them? Why was one naked and one wasn't? Why was one overly dressed and one was naked? Well, because that's my son's girlfriend and I'm going to preserve her. That to me makes sense. How Richard Allen became a fall guy, I don't know. Abby was pristine like she was bathed. Yeah, I don't think that they died that day. I think they died the following day. Or at least one of them did. I don't know. But they were, how did they die? They were shot? I forgot. I did know this and I forgot. Libby was covered in blood. Abby was pristine. Okay. Brad Holden, a reenactment of the crime scene on his Facebook before it was public knowledge. Oh, no shit. He had a reenactment of the crime scene on Facebook before it was even public? No joke. That's pretty incriminating. I'm going to look for that in a minute. Let me just finish this video.
Absolutely terrified that something's going to happen. They had that same feeling. For the rest of us, a lot of times the horrifying feeling goes away when you realize that your fears were unfounded. In this case, it got worse and worse. A gun gets pulled out. They are forced down the hill, and they were forced to do, disrobe at some point. One of them saw the other one get killed. I mean, it's an absolute.
Okay, so they weren't shot. They have nothing. The gun really plays no part because they weren't shot, right?
Nightmare. Again, it's a nightmare that actually happened to Abby and Libby. Now I'm going to play the video without me talking so you can just watch it and sort of have your own thoughts about it. And let's get started on that right now. All right. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you get a better sense of.
All right, that was kind of creepy. But I stick to my thoughts. I don't think that Richard Allen is your killer. And that's a good point. Was he... Abby was dead before redressed. So they think Abby died first? I mean, my guess, and this is just a guess, my guess of why Abby was dressed in Libby's clothes is once they got Libby naked, they didn't know what to do with the clothes. They didn't want to just leave them, so they put them on Abby. So they weren't like scattered. But at the same time, they didn't do a very good job of covering it up. So they were going to find her anyway. But that's why I think Abby was wearing Libby's clothes. All right. In defense lawyers' 136-page memorandum, the document mentions BH and PW. Who are they and how, if at all, are they related to Libby and Abby murders? Are RA's lawyers mentioning them to try to mislead suspicion from RA? The sentiment Hale Odin was one of the many Easter eggs BH left behind on his Facebook page on multiple posts. The F resembles a rune. I remember this. A Facebook post in which a few weeks before the murders, a man that looks like PW is using an electric saw to cut a tree branch. BH then leaves a comment that says cutting runes. A pagan ritual videotaped by BH, in which someone looks like PW is marking a tree with his hand or fingers. Brad's Facebook is still up. He does have pro-Scandinavian stuff and runes, but it's meaningless without pictures of the crime scene to compare. I couldn't find a picture of the supposed two girls painted dead in a similar position as the Delphi murders, but he's left his Facebook up and intact. He's obviously not worried about any of this. Did you see the comment one of his friends made 3 years ago about her wondering if he killed Abby? Or the post he made about being full of testosterone the day of the murders? That is a lot of strange stuff on his profile. Yes, and he put on the same hat Bridge guy had on. Creepy. They say looks a lot like Richard. I don't know what PW is. I'm just reading on whatchamacallit? Reddit. Oh, Patrick Westfall. I remember that name. I know, Amber. He's on my lap. He's driving me nuts. They all are. How come they don't put a link to his Facebook? Brad Holder posted this on Facebook on the day of the murders. Okay, here's my words of inspiration for today. Today is Tires Day. I also drew the rune, Taiwas, and galaxy runes. All this past week and in the beginning of this week, I've been drawing runes to have to do with giving up the baggage in my life or cutting away the old. What I believe the gods are trying to tell me is sometimes in our lives, we have to make sacrifices, and it hurts. But like the gods make sacrifice to become who they are, so must we. Like a butterfly has to shed his cocoon to become that butterfly. So must we soldier through our hardships to become better. Okay. One of the pictures is a painting he did of a naked man hung upside down from a tree. I can't find his Facebook. Yeah, I don't know why there's no link. Yeah, but jeans and a shirt like that, I think a lot of people dress like that and where they are. So how was he cleared? All right. Here's someone that's sticking up for, let me show you. You don't have to absolve RA the crimes because Legit and Lisa Berry, whatever, already did in their deposition. No DNA connected to RA. No electronic signature connecting RA to either girl's devices, phones, computer. Yeah, that's another thing. Hold on. If Libby had a phone on her, wouldn't Bridge Guy have a phone? And wouldn't they have connected or pinged together? How come there's no digital footprint of Bridge Guy's phone? It was 2017. He had to have a phone. No electronic signatures connecting RA to either girl's devices, phones, computers, iPads, etc. No CSA or CP connected to RA or found in RA devices. No past criminal behavior, no fingerprints, and the 40 S&W cartridge wasn't found by the crime scene techs. It was found days later after the police had released the crime scene back to RL. That's why the police had to come back again after a civilian found it. Also, I contacted many experts in the NRA and asked their opinions about matching an unspent cartridge to a gun if it was ejected by being uncocked when unloading it or an accidental ejecting. And it was 7 out of 10 said that there is no method for testing that cartridge. The cartridge has to be fired. The firing pin mark and the rifling, the twist left or right, and the lands and grooves are the things that make marks that are compared. Also, if you look back at the ISP labs analysis, it never tells us what brand the cartridge is that was found at the crime scene. Now the analysis tells us Richard had 18 Blazer brand 40 caliber S&W cartridges, 1 in the gun and 8 in the clip and 9 in the other clip. All of these in the 2 clips and the 1 cartridge in the Sig Sauer P226 were in their locked case altogether. But 1 Winchester 40 caliber S&W cartridge was found in a small decorative box on the dresser in the master bedroom of KA and RA, not even in the same room as the gun case. Also, RA had no other guns or ammunition. My bet is that 1 Winchester brand cartridge is a plant, but they're to match the one dropped at the scene. RA was never parked at the Children's Protection Center building. He parked exactly where he said he did, and Leggett and Leesenby knew exactly where he was talking about, and so did Richard. There's a very good map of the trails in Delphi that shows that on North Washington Street, there were 2 trails you can take in the City Park area that go to Freedom Bridge. One's called the Monoon High Bridge Trail. And right there on North Washington used to be an old Farm Bureau Insurance Company building. That's now a parking lot. Next to this parking lot is the Farm Bureau Insurance Building. It is 1.5 mile walk by trail to the Freedom Bridge, and it is much closer way to drive than from RA's house, and either back home or onto his job at CVS. So they lied when they said there was no Farm Bureau Insurance Company building in the area. And in my opinion, that's a much more normal hike to take than just the Freedom Bridge to the Monon High Bridge and back. RA is not guilty. He wasn't even there at the time it happened. Wow. That's pretty good. BG. Isn't BG Bridge guy? That's pretty good analysis, though. There's Brad. You guys want to know what Brad looked like? Hold on. I just found Brad. He does look like Richard Allen.
Well, this one's really going to piss you off. So you don't like my hat? You think I'm the murderer because I'm wearing this hat, right? Well, how about this hat? This hat trigger you? What kind of haircut do you have, Karen? I mean, I definitely have a dickhead haircut. Okay, fact one. So
That's Bridge guy right there. I don't care what anyone says. That's Bridge guy. I am totally convinced that's Bridge guy.
my last video pissed you off. Well, this one's really going to piss you off. So you don't like my hat? You think I'm the murderer because I'm wearing this hat, right? Well, how about this hat? This hat trigger you? What kind of haircut do you have, Karen? I mean, I definitely have a dickhead haircut. Okay, fact one. So my last video pissed you off. Well, this one's really going to piss you off. So you don't like my hat? You think I'm the murderer because I'm wearing this hat, right? Well, how about this?
You know, that's a really good point, AP. Excellent point. And you're right. He's not saying I'm wearing the same hat as a murderer. He's saying I'm wearing the murderer's hat. Interesting choice of words. Why was he cleared? Does anyone know? Because look at him. Hold on. All right. Look at him there. You see that? And compare it to the video. His interrogation was one of the ones accidentally recorded over. Of course. I think he's your guy. Okay, my only issue with Holder is that Libby would have known him, and I think the video and conversations would have been different. Yeah, but that may be why they didn't run. Because they may have realized it was him. He does look like Bridge Guy. I think it's him. I absolutely think it's him. Look at his legs. He's got the same legs. I agree. Same man down to the hat. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Hold on, let's check that out. I never even thought of that. Same shape torso, exactly. What does Gray say? I think this is totally him. Hold on, let me grab. Hang on. Your video. Okay, hold on. I agree with you. I don't think it's Richard Allen. I don't. Too many things point to this guy.
Continued found took
more video.
It was the first look at the corpse. In total, including 4 on the trail that saw this on Libby's. We've only had the same Bridgeman video and the audio track where you
That's Brad Holden.
had the same Bridgeman video and the audio
All right, I'm gonna try something. Hold on. I don't know how well it'll work.
track. Had the same Bridgeman video and the audio track where you hear him say, "Guys, down the hill," but the video where you hear him say, "Guys, down the hill," but
So I'm trying to get that one snip. There's 1 second that's like clearer.
hill. But hill, but the but
Why is it not
down the hill.
All right. If you look at the facial, one, he has a beard right here. But look at the facial structure. And look at his legs. Hold on, let me. Hang on. Bear with me. Oh, come on. Hang on. Locally denied FBI assistant. I'm telling you, there's something wrong. Alright, it was set up. I'm absolutely convinced of this. Hold on. I'm going to show you guys why. They say Brad is like 6'1". But I don't believe that looking at his legs. Oh, Brad is 5'9"? Hold on. Oh. All right, we'll go 1. All right, now let's listen to the voice. Oh, Ron Logan was 6'1". Okay.
It's a very clear video, unlike the one we've seen in the past. It starts with Libby recording the trail and turning the camera to record Abby, who is behind her. Abby is the only one in frame, but quickly after that, you can see Bridgman come into view and get closer to Abby.
Can you guys hear it? I forgot if I put sound on.
Libby points the phone down and you can hear the girls talk for the first time in this video. It was something along the lines of, there's no path, so we have to go down. And the girls discussing where the trail ends. The witnesses who were on the bridge that day were also shown the infamous Bridgman picture. They all testified that that's the same man they had seen on the trail earlier that day. Jurors were also presented a lot of the evidence that was collected at the scene, including items. And that evidence, they were by Erica Jimenez, 16 News Now. All right. Tell me that's not the same motherfucker. That is the same. Look at the legs. The legs are a dead giveaway. The facial structure, that is a dead fucking giveaway. The body type. The beard. But most importantly, look at the legs. The shoulders, you're right. But look at the legs, the way the legs are built. That's the exact same way. And the facial structure and the way the beard is. That's your killer. I am totally convinced. Even the shoes. The shoes are the same.
There's something about the face, but the legs, the way his knees go out a little, exactly how this guy is. Now, I would love to get a full size of Richard Allen back then. Is there any of those floating around? But the legs are a dead giveaway. He's got those same outward knees. And Bridge Guy does too. I don't know if it's bone-legged or just like knees go out. But the legs are a dead giveaway. So is the facial structure. That's it. I got to get to Indiana. I'm going to Delphi tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding. I need to bust in that courtroom. Your Honor, you're making a mistake. Richard Allen's not the guy. Look at the legs. That little bow in the legs. Same thing. That's why I wanted to see another Richard Allen. I'm telling you, this is your man. Oh, it does? All right, hold on. All right, hold on. All right, so 11 minutes. His shoe, I'm telling you, it's the legs.
Now watch this. These are actual.
Okay, but here's the thing. It doesn't match. I don't know what he's trying to match. It doesn't match. Richard Allen's shoulders are not like the Bridge Guy's shoulders. Bridge Guy's shoulders are bigger. Richard Allen's shoulders are almost like flat. You know what I mean? And he's lining it up. It doesn't match. Even with BG hunched over. Yeah, this is Richard Allen, a Bridge Guy. The one with the back to us, that's Richard Allen. But Richard Allen's shoulders are more flat. Like, he doesn't have shoulders at all.
It would be, and it slides
Okay, I've been talking to myself. I didn't know mute was on. This guy is much broader. Look at his shoulder and his chest. No, it was my fault. That's why I said I was like sitting here talking to myself. But he's got much broader shoulders than Richard Allen does. Richard Allen is almost no shoulder. Oh. Oh. That is much more alike. Well, shit. Now you tell me which looks more alike. 1, 2, or 3? 1 and 2 are way more similar. Look at the legs. They're an exact match. I bet if Gray did a lineup with these two, they would overlap perfectly. I don't know how to do that. I mean, I guess I could do a like ghetto version of it. Nah, he just has his hands in his pocket. That's it. He's walking with his hands in his pocket. But look at this. As compared to this, these two are even the exact same height. How do I know? Look. Look at this. The only reason he looks taller is because he's higher. If you look at the feet, it's the exact difference here. These two are the exact same height. You see what I'm saying? From the amount of this being higher, and they're the exact same size picture, but this is higher. If you put them on even ground, they're an exact match. Their legs are an exact match. The distance from groin to knee is an exact match. The shoes, I think, are identical. The hat is the same. This is your man. Same beard, no mustache. Beard, no mustache. Round face. Round face. Yep. If you look at the witness sketches, looks way more like him. And him and Richard Allen look alike. Don't get me wrong. They share much similarity. I don't know why they're covering for him. I don't know. But he's your man. Look at the watch. Watch. Same arm. See that? If that's a watch. I don't know if that's a watch. But it looks like a watch. I don't know how you guys don't see it. He's an exact match. Look at his fat right here. Matches this fat right here. See, it's hard to tell though. The nose area, it is hard to tell. But look at his roll of fat. It's the exact same. And again, they're the exact height. If you were to lift this picture so their feet are on even ground, yeah, that's not going to work. This makes it bigger. If you put their feet on even ground, they'd be the exact same height. No. Bridge guy is like 5'10". RA is 5'5". But you see what I'm saying, though? If you look at the exact difference from here and add that to here, you got the exact same height. RA is 5'4". I'm telling you guys, this is your man. The legs are a dead giveaway. The shoes are a dead giveaway. That fat roll right here. If this is his watch, which it very well could be, I see that's his arm. I don't know where his hand is, but that looks like the same watch. Yeah, you're right. The width of him. Good point. See, I don't know when this picture was taken, though. But I'm absolutely convinced that is your man. And look at the evidence piled up. Why was Abby not embarrassed by being found naked? Why was Abby spared? Why was, I mean, obviously he had to kill both of them, but why would they put clothes on one and not the other? Why was one slashed 4 times? Well, from a profiler perspective, they were out for Libby, or they made it Libby worse. But why was Abby only cut once? Why was Libby cut 4 times? 5 times? And honestly, we don't know who died first. We really don't. But again, I don't even think they died that day. Abby was drained for blood. Well, that's a take I never heard. So that's the other thing. Okay, so you believe that it was a ritualistic killing, then Richard Allen absolutely did not do it. Unless he lived some secret life that his wife and kid didn't know about. I think he's your bridge guy. I'm 100% on it. Abby didn't really have blood. Yeah, but Abby, her blood could have been in the water. They said that she was cleaned up really well. It could have been in the water. She may have been killed in the water. I'll agree with you, Criminal Network. I think we're all in agreement on that. But yeah, I think there was just no blood because she was killed in the water. No, because how were they carrying her? Come on, look at those legs. They're like identical. Yeah, I think that's his hand. And there's his watch. Same face. Searches early on said they were ATV. Yeah, but couldn't that be from anybody? Yeah, but what's that bright mark that just happens to line up with the watch? You see what I mean? I agree that it was a fanny pack, but I think that was his arm behind it. Because, like, here's his arm. I mean, that's not even a question. But I'm wondering if that's his watch. Yeah, that means he was holding it. Nah, a gun wouldn't look like that. I really do. I think that's his watch. He could be holding a gun behind the fanny pack. But the way that lines up, I don't know. I think that's a watch. I'm telling you, that's not him.
Shorter legs.
Nope, it's Brad Holden. Hold on, I'm going to try something. Hold on. I don't know if it'll work, but we're going to try something. Bear with me. Oh, no. Because the one that Gray has is he's like standing up. So hold on. Bear with me a moment. Oop. All right. How did I say that? No fighting in chat. No, I've heard what Criminal Network is saying. I've heard that before. He's not the first person I've heard that from. All right. All right. Hold on. I don't know why I did this the long way. That was dumb. All right. Let me take a look. Hang on. Delphi. All right. Oh, damn it. Come on. Seriously? All right. That didn't work. What I was trying to do didn't work. Peter's wife divorced him, married a Huddleston. A Huddleston was living with Libby at the time. Oh, no shit. That would make sense. So how is BH not listed? Huddleston was also involved in the Logansport fire where 7 people died. Is that proven? He's a federal informant? I clocked out of work 2:45. He was a half hour away from the bridge. He checked in at the gym at 4:08. Well, if you go with my theory, though, anybody could have clocked him out of work. It doesn't necessarily mean that he clocked out. Somebody could have clocked him out. And he was a half hour away from the bridge, allegedly. See, I tried doing an overlay. I don't know how to do it. I can tell Gray do an overlay of Brad's picture. And he will see that is an exact match. And I think, and I know someone's going to ask, like, well, why would they set up Richard Allen? I don't have that answer. Their reasoning for setting up Richard Allen, I don't have that answer. I don't know. Yeah, they're saying that on Twitter, that he all of a sudden stopped. I know, right, Jay? I'm gonna ask him to do a lineup. I'm gonna send him the picture and say, please do a lineup, because here is your man. Yeah, I tried. I don't know how to do it. That's like Grace thing. That and mapping. I'm good at figuring shit out. All right, let's see. He was a big boy in 2018. I'll tell you that much. Uh, okay. I hate to play this bitch's video, but it came up on Twitter. Okay, this cycle will write about me for a year because I used her video. But I want to see what she says.
What kind of haircut do you have, Karen? Okay, fact one.
Hey, she did it for me. Look at that. See, but here's the thing. I'm going to show you guys something. Brad was bigger then. And I'm going to show you this. It's wild. I didn't know this until 5 seconds ago. But he even fits it more. Watch. I'm going to show you guys. Hold on. Now, the one thing I'm looking at is the waist. The pants line up perfectly. The waist lines up perfectly. When she did the overlay on that, the waistline lined up absolutely perfectly. Now, you can look and say, oh, Bridge Guy is bigger. Well, in 2018, look at this. In 2018, this was Bridge Guy. See, he was stockier. He was bigger. I'm Norse pagan. I'm tribal. I'm straight. I enjoy working out all the time and hanging with my kindred. Now, did he gain a lot of weight from guilt because he just murdered 2 innocent girls? Don't know. Yeah, it's a year later. That's what I'm saying. And why is he laughing? 2 innocent girls that he knew. Making a knife from a bridge. May 4th, 2017. See, now I'm second guessing it. Not when he was this big, he doesn't look like Bridge Guy. At least not with all that hair. Okay. Picture Johnny Messer and Patrick Westall. And that definitely doesn't look like Richard Allen. A pagan ritual killing in broad daylight of 2 girls at a populated trail, and he left a calling card or 2. Now, I'll agree with this. I'll absolutely agree with this. That's why I don't think that this happened in the middle at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, that's not. See, now I'm all confused. This is a picture of JM, LM. Who's LM? I don't know the case enough to know initials, except the obvious. I thought Andrea, she attends the Delphi. I know she does. I've watched. She's the one that got me into the case. BG Bridge Guy. Who's LM? Oh, Logan Maxwell. Who's that? See Delphi trending. There she is. See, I saw this too, and I found this wild. They decided not to test the DNA, the hair, because they were told it was probably from Libby's family. What kind of case is that? Like, who the fuck does that? For years, people said they could see another person on the bridge. I never could until this image. Other pics and replies. Who is this? Oh, damn, they're right. That is another person. That's a person. It's a heavyset person. But weren't they behind? Yeah, they were behind. Maybe that was a witness? Maybe it's a witness. There's no comments. That's weird, though. There's no comments on it. I'll give you a heart. Is it real? Is it fake? Who knows? But that looks like a heavyset female. I mean, that is definitely a person. Whether it's real or not, I don't know. But that's definitely another person. It does look like a big old heifer. But it's legit another person. It could be fake. There's no comments on it. But if it was fake though, wouldn't you put like a big guy or something? Why would you put like a fat female? Jerry Holdman is a monster, narcissist, and a failure of a cop. Big Juror wanted to be made a king by taking on Delphi double homicide and solving it despite his history of failing other cases, such as David Kallenberger. A year ago, Jerry Holman went to the workplace of Kyle Fortson, veteran, husband, father, who had been sent leaked CS photos and lied to him about the consequence and the seriousness of charges that would follow. Kyle went home and shot himself. See, I don't think Richard Allen's going to walk free because of all his confessions. When this trial is being hidden from the public, I know experts and legal analysts are saying what junk science it is, but it's worse than I thought. Yeah, I believe I've been on almost 3.5 hours already, but there's another video I want to watch about false confessions. Not tonight, though. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I did not expect to be on this long at all. I expect to be on like an hour. Cheers, pretty good animation bears are sharing. If this photo didn't come from Libby's phone, whose did it come from? Was this device one of 3 on the geofence near the crime scene? Why'd they say it didn't come from Libby's phone? That's a good point, too. If you've never crossed a bridge before, why would you have both hands in your pockets? Everyone knows you don't walk downstairs or on places where you might need to use your hands to stop yourself from falling on your face with your hands in your pockets. That's a really good point, though. She was comfortable enough to keep her hands in her pockets. Because that is a true statement. This past week, you know what's going on. Oh, I did. I've been watching her. I'm telling you, she's the one that got me into the case. The state not testing the hair entangled in Abby's fingers is bullshit. Yeah, I agree. I've never heard of that before. 100% not. King Klein denies involvement in Delphi killing. Yeah, I don't think it was him. It's a good thing I didn't know about. I didn't cover this case. I would have never gotten off of it. Would have been a Delphi channel. I mean, there's just so many twists and turns. I don't think you're a bad person. What kind of good person kills 2 people? You're going to pay for what you've done to my wife. You want to fuck with me, but leave my wife out of this. Leave me out of this. No, you're involved in this. Your fucking round is there, Rick. No, it's not. You're guilty of something. You're guilty, and I know it, and I'm going to fucking prove it. Yeah, I see setup. But I have been on 3.5 hours. I have to go to bed, and I'm starving. I was going to stay on for an hour and make candles. And now, probably not going to have time to make candles. But we'll see after I eat. So much corruption. This is crazy, though. But we're going to pick up on this tomorrow. I'm going to listen to more tomorrow. And we could totally discuss. Now I'm down this rabbit hole. Now I'm going to find more on Brad. And I'm going to discuss it with Gray. And I hate to give her a shout out, but thanks, Crime Sleuthin, for that matchup. Because you did exactly what I wanted to do. And yeah, I'm convinced it's Brad. I think Richard Allen is totally being set up. And if he's not being set up and he was involved somehow, he wasn't the murderer. and they didn't die that afternoon. They died much later. There may have been a ritualistic killing. Nobody's going to kill, even ritualistic or not. The way they were murdered, it wasn't a quick murder. It was calculated. And one was in the water, one probably not in the water. One was cleaned up, one wasn't. That wouldn't be done by themselves. But I definitely don't think Richard Allen did it. And on that note, thank you all wonderful people for being here. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Oh, let me see the poll. Hold on. All right. Interesting poll. 58% think he was framed, and 48 or 42% or whatever it was say he wasn't. Interesting poll. Did the numbers come up? Did it show? Did it not post the results? I'm not seeing it. All right. There was something else I saw. That I saw real quick about Delphi, and I'm not seeing it now. I see it. All right. I will see you beautiful people tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful night. Hit the thumbs up on your way out. Oh, there it is. So 58% think he was framed and 41% think he's guilty as charged. 116 votes. Oh, it's a little rough. All right, we'll pick this up tomorrow. I will see you guys later. Thank you for being here. Peace.